see if anybody loads in today to broadcast, right? Yeah. And if nobody comes for the live, we'll just do it and then we'll send it out to everybody. Okay. Okay, well, let's get started anyways. Give them a second to edit. All right. Good evening and welcome to the Milwaukee Public Library Book Chat program. Each month we focus on a different theme and occasionally bring in guests from the public. My name is Beth and I'm the adult librarian at the Milwaukee Public Library East Branch. Tonight with me is my co-host Mary, who is in the background and will be running the chat. And with us today is our special guest, Jenna Kashou. Before I introduce her, just a few housekeeping issues. Feel free to use the chat box to interact with each other and share your book recommendations. We'll have a short Q&A at the end with our special guest. Feel free to include your name and pronouns if you would like to share. So without further ado, let me introduce Jenna. Jenna is a writer, storyteller, and journalist specializing in lifestyle and culture feature writing. She was the 5th writer in residence at the Pfister Hotel, where she wrote about and photographed guests and events. Her work has appeared in Milwaukee Magazine, M Magazine, the Business Journal, Edible Milwaukee, and much more. She's lived in Greece, Portugal, Spain, Brazil, and Argentina. She always returns to Milwaukee, her hometown, and loves everywhere she goes. Welcome, Jenna. Thank you so much for being with us here this evening. How are you?
Thank you.
We're so grateful that you could be here to talk to us. We love your book at the library, 100 Things to Do in Milwaukee Before You Die, which you can see the cover right here. And I'm going to turn these slides off while we are talking. How long did you grow up in Milwaukee or did you move here? Tell me about your Milwaukee story.
Yeah, so I grew up in Milwaukee. Well, I was born in Milwaukee, grew up here in Mequon, which is a suburb of the city. And I ended up going away to University of Iowa for college. Did a stint in Chicago. And, I ended up just really not feeling like that was home. I couldn't find my niche. So I moved back here and I realized that I had to come back to a very different city. There was Milwaukee has been really undergoing a renaissance for a while now. So it was really exciting for me to be able to return to a new place and rediscover it with new eyes. So I'm stuck here, I guess, in a good way. I love it. It's a wonderful place. I now live in Whitefish Bay where I have 2 little kids, and it's just an amazing community to raise a family. So
I
that's
absolutely agree. When you were growing up, do you have any fun library memories from your library when you were a kid or when you were in college? Can you share any of those with us?
Yeah, well, the library has always been a really great place for kids, and for me as an adult, I definitely would go to the library, and I was always into different crafts and activities, and I would love to go, and I was a busybody as a kid and find little how-to books. And, I would always bring home a lot of bracelet making and things like that were happening in my household during my early adolescence. So that was a really great resource for me to be able to discover new hobbies. And then, as I got older, obviously, library is always a place where I feel like I can just sort of, I feel at home. I feel comfortable. I did a lot of studying in libraries and in college. And, since I've been back here, same thing kind of all over again when I was in my 20s and sort of trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. Found a lot of great inspirational books. The Central Library is really kind of my happy place. I hate to pick favorites, but that one just has such a, you walk into the library or into the main rotunda area, and it just has this really special feeling when you're in there. And so I would go there a lot on the weekends and kind of just, like I said, browse and look for new inspiration. So
That's awesome. Did you ever get to go on a rotunda tour?
I've never done one of those. I feel like I should,
Mm-hmm.
but I just never have. I'll
Yeah,
put it on my bucket list.
yeah, definitely put it on your list. I'm sure we can make that happen for you at some point. We also have the green roof tours, which have been on pause for the past year and a half. But if anybody's interested in that, there is information on our website. It's really cool to see.
It's one of the things I've recommended in my book.
Absolutely. Great view up there too. All right. So you said Central is your favorite. Have you visited any of our other branches recently during this time?
I did a book signing at Tippecanoe, which I had never been to that one. The East Branch, ever since you got that facelift, really blew me away. And where else do I go? Well, the Whitefish Bay one now is like 2 blocks from my house. So
yeah, that's a beautiful library.
Yeah, we're there on a weekly basis. It's great. I take my kids there for story time, which is just the sweetest thing ever. And it's just been really nice for us to have that it's like a little oasis in our community and a place for my kids, again, to rediscover new things. Where else have I been? Remind me of some of the other.
Well, Mary works at Martin Luther King branch, which you should check it out because that is the next one that will be getting redone. So go check it out before it's new.
One, I forgot. I lived in Bayview for a while. I've lived in different neighborhoods in Milwaukee. The Bayview one's nice too. So yeah, everyone that I've been into so far.
Yeah, as a staff person, we often get sent to work at the various branches, so we have like a home base, but then we'll get deployed out if we need help at other locations. So before my career is done, I want to make sure I've worked at all of them. I'm pretty close.
Actually, I have to go to the Mitchell Street one because somebody told me there's some art going on there that's really cool.
It's so good. You'll be blown away. And that was one of our most recently redone ones besides Good Hope. So Good Hope is the new one. So definitely check that out. Absolutely. So I was so intrigued when I was doing my research for our interview that you were a writer in residence or narrator in residence at the Pfister. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, I think that was a really pivotal experience, actually, because, I had been so through my 20s, I had been working in nonprofits, actually through my 30s, worked in nonprofits doing grant writing and event planning, and had always been freelancing. And, I kind of just thought of it as like, this is sort of my passion project. But then really when it took the narrator job at the Pfister, I thought, okay, I think I can make writing a career. And so that was really a big, like I said, a big turning point for me. I had a really good chance. It was the first time I really had some dedicated time and space to think about that is, what could this look like as a career? And then just the access to the guests in the space, it was amazing. Like there's no place else that you can find such interesting stories, interesting people, such inspirational decor. I mean, it was just, there was so much going on, and the staff was really friendly and took really good care of me, made me feel like a part of the family. So I would definitely call that my favorite job I've ever had.
I think that sounds so great. I would love to do that. What was maybe your favorite or most interesting story that you covered while you were there?
One of the last stories I wrote actually was these two like long lost sisters who had found each other. One lived in the UK and one lived in America. And I want to say they were like twins, but they were adopted by two different people. So I don't remember how the story goes, but they found each other and they were meeting at the Pfister for the first time. And I just happened to, nose my way into the story, and it was incredible. It was so cool. They were so generous to share their story with me. And it just was incredible. I think stuff like that happens often at the Pfister. So, so that was fun to be able to document that.
And I love that you were hearing real stories, because I'm sure in a fiction novel, be like, oh, that's stranger than fiction. We can't That's
Right.
believable. And it's like, look at all these like true life stories that you got to encounter while you were
Yeah.
writing there.
Yeah. And, even some seemingly mundane things, the business, the weary business traveler, or,
Mm-hmm.
another gala event, I kind of always challenge myself to dig a little bit deeper and see, what was really happening, or what angle could I take with the story. So, so for me as a journalist, it was really good honing my interview skills and my people skills, because, approaching these people in the lobby was also a little bit nerve-wracking, because you don't want to bother them. You don't want to be too nosy. Um, so it was a great experience overall. And since I've left, I've met so many incredible other writers and authors for a long while, really up until COVID. Some of the authors were getting together, frequently, just to exchange stories and talk about what we were doing next in our professional lives. So it was really, really nice for me to sort of fall into this group and have this new set of friends.
Yeah, that's awesome that you would still get together, because it's kind of a special group to be in.
It is.
How many do they have that currently still going on? Do you know, or was that put on pause? I'm assuming.
Yeah, for COVID. The last one I think was like the 10th or 11th.
Okay.
It was going on for about 10, 11, 12 years, because I think it started off as a 6-month residency and then they moved it to a 1-year residency.
Mm-hmm.
But there are very few writing residencies that are paid, and again, where you have access to such great story material. So I think that is hopefully something that they'll bring back, because as the Marcus family is really who owns the Pfister, is really
Mm-hmm.
invested in the art community here. So
Yep, they're amazing. Love that. So with your time there, can you kind of describe your journey to getting the job to write the 100 Things to Do in Milwaukee Before You Die book?
yeah, so that actually was a kind of a long period in between. So I, went back to work, was continuing to do nonprofit work. I did a stint where I was just working for myself, where I was freelancing, doing both editorial and nonprofit, and really some like small business copywriting. And then I got scooped up by another larger nonprofit to do what was, again, a special job. I was planning a really huge gala for them every year. And then I had a baby, and then I had another baby. And then my husband bought a business. And then literally that next week, or it was like the week before, I was called with the offer for the book. So the timing was terrible. And I knew that it was something that I wanted to do. And, I had some really great writing that I had been doing for Milwaukee Magazine that was very similar to, this type of what's going on in Milwaukee and where to go. And so it was really a natural fit with my writing style and my interest. And the publisher had this series. And so there was already a format to it. And I thought, well, if there was ever a good book for me to write, this would be it. Yeah. And so I thought, well, how hard can it be? It's only 100 things and the format's there. So I I had negotiated with my full-time job to take a second maternity leave. And I thought, that's when I'll write the book. And so I had 3 months off in the summer, and I, a lot of times I just have the baby in tow, or I would hire a sitter and I would just go out and explore. So there was a lot of like, sort of reporting out in the field, where I was, actually experiencing a lot of these different things over again, or for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It really merited an inclusion in the book, because the list did start with like 250 things, and then I had set this criteria of, well, is it authentically Milwaukee, and does the place itself have staying power? Is it a small shop that might close, or there's like a whole list of criteria that I had put together to see. And there were some things that were in the first edition that I would have gladly, that I think are very valuable experiences, but just to have a little bit of differentiation, I took a couple things off the list. Or if it was something super obvious, like the art museum, I tried to include some type of new information. So
Mm-hmm.
like for instance, try a yoga class at the art museum, or something along those lines, so that people knew that there was a tried and true favorite experience, but there was a new way to look at it. So yeah.
I appreciated that when I was reading through the book to see how many I had done, and I had done quite a few of them. So I'm like, yeah, but I still have a bunch on my list that I want to tackle. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
My kid just came in. Hi there.
Hey.
There you are. He's been getting bolder as the pandemic has gone on, because before he'd be like, no. Anyway, let's see. So how many have you personally checked off the list? Did you do all 100?
I did, like, as I just mentioned, like there are certain little add-ons or bits of information that I included, like visit the Milwaukee Public Library, and then I would say, and try the Green Roof Tour. So like, that's one that I haven't done. Obviously I've been to the Central Library, but I wanted to, like I said, just kind of include some new information, but pretty much everything else I've done. And I'm trying to think if there is. No, I think I pretty much did everything, because I felt like I had to experience it myself, otherwise I couldn't really say it was something you had to do. Yeah, so pretty much everything.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to doing some more of those things myself. I'm a Sagittarius, so I'm like ready to like explore. Awesome. That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Let's see. If you had to pick a favorite thing from the book, or the most kind of strange thing that you did, either that made it in, or was, that is in the book, or you had a cut. Do you have a story like that?
You gotta look again.
Yes.
I would say, okay, wait, I will say there is one thing I haven't done. The set sail on the Dennis Sullivan. I've had, my sister worked on the boat, and
Okay.
talked to a lot of people, and that was one of those things where it's like, you have to just include it in the book. And I said, okay. So I would want to do that. And the Milwaukee Curling Club. So that is something that I have not done. And I feel like it is a very unique experience.
I have a very good friend that does the curling, and highly recommends. It's a very good time. I have not been on the boat either, so maybe we can go sometime.
So hike the Seven Bridges Trail is one of my favorites. I feel like most people have done that, or if they haven't, they know about it, and they know they should get there. I revisited the Safe House, and I forgot, it is kind of a strange experience. Yes, the password, and I was embarrassed. But it's just such a unique place, and all the memorabilia they have. I got a really special tour from Peggy, who was the manager at the time. Peggy Williams, actually, who's now the CEO of Visit Milwaukee. So, she's also an amazing resource. But, the other thing that I think is kind of new and unique is that whole Pabst Brewing Complex. It's one of my favorite areas, because you really get a lot of, obviously the Pfister Forum and the Deer District, that's all new. That's one of my favorite places to visit. But, once you kind of get bored there, or you lose interest, you can kind of just head a little bit further. Yeah. And you can go walk over into the Pabst Brewery area, and it's like night and day. They're like two different Milwaukees,
Yeah.
You have the cobblestone street, and it's just such a beautiful area. So those are kind of my two favorite things, I would say. But, again, you can't beat the Milwaukee County parks. They're amazing. And there's lots to do and see in those too.
There's so much to do. I was really lucky. I got a semi-private tour of the best place years and years ago, like 15 years ago, when I worked at the Harley Davidson Museum before I came to the library. And we took a group of Harley Davidson enthusiasts on a big tour of the city, and the owner invited them to check out like the captain's boardroom and the office and everything before they opened, and it was super cool. So it's such a cool place. All right, let's see. I think I only have like one or two more questions. Kind of a dreaming big question for you. If you could pick any place to write another 100 things type book, what would you pick?
That's tricky, because I wrote this book about Milwaukee because I've lived here and I've explored here so much. And, if I were to move somewhere else, I don't know if I would have that same level of like love and attachment. So I think it would be harder, obviously, because I wanted to, in here, there's a lot of insider info based on just my experience and,
Yeah.
living here forever. So I feel like that's what makes it valuable. So
Mhm.
for me to be able to infuse that into another book, I'd have to live in a new place for quite a while. So I don't know. I mean, the Pacific Northwest is such a beautiful region. I would love to live in like Portland or Washington, but I don't know. I guess I can't answer that question.
That's okay. It was a tricky one. I was like, I wouldn't even know how to answer this,
Yeah, I mean,
but
Spain,
anyways.
I would love to move back to Spain.
Oh,
But yeah, that's a whole nother topic for another day.
indeed, indeed. So wrapping up the questions, I just want to remind everyone, if you do have a question for Jenna, make sure to drop it in the Q&A or in the chat, and we'll have a little bit of time to answer those. Jenna, what is next for you? Where can we find you? What social media can people follow you on? What's next?
Yeah, so I'm continuing to explore every day. And it's, summer's obviously a great time to get out and find new things. I'm still doing quite a bit of magazine writing. So Milwaukee Magazine, I'm a regular contributor, and MKE Lifestyle is another great magazine. It actually offers free subscriptions, which is really nice. So if you don't subscribe, do so. It's MKE Lifestyle. And then I just signed a contract to write another book with Reedy Press. So same publisher that did the 100 Things. They have a brand new series called Scavenger Hunt. So I will be writing Scavenger Hunt MKE, which is really exciting. It won't be out until fall 2022.
Okay.
But like literally just this week, I started researching, and that will be I'll be exploring 18 different neighborhoods. It'll be broken into neighborhoods. So it'll be a usable guide that you can take out into the neighborhoods and try your best to find these clues that I have crafted, or that I will be crafting. And yeah, hopefully we can, do something, depending on, how good I can get my marketing brain to work here, do something unique and fun with it, so that it can be more of an interactive experience, or, we can kind of bring the book off the paper, so to speak.
I'm going to write that down for my notes for next year's planning. So I'll be in touch with you. I love that. Well, that's so exciting. And I'm just so grateful that we were able to have you on tonight. I'm not seeing any questions yet, but we can have time if anybody wants to put them in the chat or in the Q&A as we go through, please do. I'm just reading through the chat right now to see if there's any comments. Oh, somebody suggested activity could be clean the chandelier at the Paps Theater.
Oh my God.
No thanks. Let's see. Somebody said Central Library is also their top place to go. They loved volunteering there and volunteering for the Browsers Book Bash, which is always our big kids program.
Nice.
And then somebody said, this isn't a question, but they got the book as a gift and they absolutely love it. So thank you.
Yeah. And actually, I'm looking at Sandra said Bubbler bike tie-in. Yes. And I actually want to see maybe if there could be a hop tie-in, because I think the streetcar is really cool. And I took a streetcar tour with Historic Milwaukee, and it was really fun. So I feel like that would be great if we could put some clues on the hop route. And
yes.
Yeah. So lots of fun things, that really, I think this book was really just a jumping off point for me. So yeah, so more good things to come.
Yep, I agree. And it's just nice to talk about our city. I love living here, and with all the excitement about the Bucks currently, I did go down to the Deer District on Sunday night.
Yeah. Was it crazy?
Yeah, I didn't go like in like where everybody was. I was in like where the Bradley Center was, on the gravel like thing that they turned, like fenced it off and put another TV in, and it was super fun. It was good people watching too, and everybody was having a really good time.
Good.
Awesome. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and pull up our slides because we're gonna quick run through some book recommendations. Jenna picked out some really awesome ones, so I want to make sure we get through those. So just give me a hot second here. And there it is. Awesome. So before we do go into the book recommendations, I always have to plug our current summer reading season so people of all ages can sign up. You can go to mpl.beanstack.org and get all your reads logged throughout the summer. You have until the end of August to get your books turned in. So please do. Jenna's book could be one of them, just saying. So Jenna, what books did you choose for us tonight? We went with like a Milwaukee kind of theme and place-based recommendations list for today.
So these are all over the board. I wanted to kind of give a good or a good variety, I'm sorry, for people who like different things. So for someone who's into, not really politics, but more social science, this book Evicted, it's not new, but it is really, really, really powerful. It's incredible. I don't want to read it again. It kind of made me uncomfortable because it is really, really real and raw. It tells the story of poverty in our city. And it's really, I like it, especially because it's not really a tale of race. It's a tale of class. And it's just sad. It's really sad, but it's really important, and it's really, really interesting. And it really paints a picture of a different Milwaukee, one that I don't normally write about. So it was very eye-opening for me to read. So that is a good one to put on your list. Storied and Scandalous in Wisconsin is just a fun book. The author is a wonderful person. One of my Pfister narrative friends, Anna Lardenoy. She's also the owner of Gothic Milwaukee. So if you ever might want to take a tour, she does some really fun tours, especially around Halloween. This one is different stories from all over the state, which is really fun. So all sorts of different like mobster stories and things that will kind of make you say like, no way, here in Wisconsin. So it's that's a fun read for someone who's really into history. I actually got that one for my dad. And then this next book, 111 Places in Milwaukee That You Must Not Miss. I know it sounds almost the same as mine. It's very different, actually. It came out like right after mine too, so I was a little bit nervous, I'm not gonna lie, for the competition. But it's really a cool book that has wonderful photography. It has actually a lot of places that I haven't been to, but these are more places and mine are more experiences. So it's different in that respect where this again has a little bit more lengthy descriptions. It goes into the history of maybe some different places, whereas mine is, like I said, more about how to experience a place in Milwaukee. But that's a really fun one too, if you have someone on your list who is again into history stuff. And then this is, I don't read a ton of novels. I read a ton of memoirs, but this one was really interesting. It's called The Optimist's Guide to Letting Go. Amy Reichert is a Wisconsin author. And then this is, it kind of talks about relationships and relationships between mothers and daughters. And so it just kind of hit home for me because I think my mom has a really interesting story to share in her past. And just recently, as I've become older and become a mother myself, I've been really interested in my mom's story. And so this is kind of what the novel is about. And I just thought it was like a fun, light read, but with a really interesting theme. But she also wrote another one called The Coincidence of Coconut Cake, which I'm reading now, which is a good summer read. It's a little fluffier, but I like it. So she's a great Wisconsin writer. So those are my picks. And
those are great picks.
It's hard to pick. But like I said, I wanted to run the gamut. This one, Milwaukee Food, is a good one. This one's a little bit older, but Lori Frederick is an amazing writer on Milwaukee. And so if you don't subscribe to her newsletter, if you're interested in food and restaurants, she does a really great really great coverage on dining. So anyway.
So many great choices. Yeah, and you can pick those up at Boswell, which is our favorite local indie, or you can get them from the library, and you don't have to worry about writing any of these down. We will email everybody here with the list when we're in a couple days after we are done here tonight. We actually hosted Amy when her debut book came out, The Coconut cake one at the new East Library years ago.
Nice.
So it's a fun, I liked how very in place of Milwaukee. It was very Milwaukee. Like I felt
Ooh.
like it's very well done that way.
Yes,
I
sorry, I
felt like
forgot to
home.
mention that. There's references to Red Arrow Park and
Mhm.
Harley Davidson and just things that are really fun. It makes you,
Mhm.
kind of feel like you're in the story.
Yep, absolutely. It makes you hungry too. A lot of good
Yes,
food
I know.
stuff in there. All right. So Mary is in the background. I'm going to read through Mary's recommendations because she is off camera for right now. But her first one is Mailboat by Daniel Lincoln Hanna. Danielle Lincoln Hanna is a local author from Wisconsin, and this one, Mary says, is she didn't think she was going to like this book. She imagined it would be kind of simple and geared towards young adults, but she's already put book 2 and 3 on hold because she liked the story so much. It's set on Lake Geneva and is kind of a murder mystery suspense series. The subject is anything but simple and foretells more sinister acts will be coming. And Danielle is going to be our next guest next month in August. So we'll give you the details for that in just a little bit. Mary also recommends Death of a Bean Counter, which is a Maggie Thorson mystery by Sandra Balzo. The Maggie Thorson is a coffee shop owner in none other than Milwaukee. This is the 12th book in the series and has Maggie living with the chief of police. He makes an unannounced call to question her chief barista, who just so happened to be living with an investment advisor and is the last one to see him alive. Maggie gets to work to prove her innocence. So if you like kind of those cozy murder mysteries, this is a great choice. And it is set in Milwaukee, which is awesome. Let's see. And then Mary also picked The Hazards of Time Travel by Joyce Carol Oates. It's a story of time travel, as the title says. It tells the story of a 17-year-old living in a world where obedience and conformity is expected. There are consequences for disobedience. When Adrian challenges the system, she is punished by being sent to Wayne, Scotia, Wisconsin in 1959 to be reschooled. You will either love or hate Joyce Carol Oates, Mary says, and she's not quite sure which camp she's in. Some books stick, some others don't, but definitely give this one a try if you want a challenging read. All right. And then these are mine. So mine aren't all exactly specifically Milwaukee, but I'll explain why, or Wisconsin. So my first choice is this really excellent book of mostly photography with some explanation, and it's called Fading Ads of Milwaukee. So Adam Levin, he's a Milwaukee native and a ghost sign hunter. So a ghost sign are these old signs that are painted on buildings around town that are slowly fading away over time. So he went and explored all these national brands and local shops in the Cream City to make sure to document them, and you can still see most of them today. So definitely get that one a try if you want to go do some hunting around town to see if you can still see those. And I wanted to pick a book that kind of went along with this Fading Ads of Milwaukee. It was one of my favorite books of last year. It's called Love Lettering, and it's set in New York City, and it's by a romance author called Kate Claiborne. And in this book, the two protagonists are going around New York looking for hand-lettered signs because the main character is a hand letterer, calligrapher, artist who does signs like the ones in Fading Ads of Milwaukee. So they go on these scavenger hunts throughout the town, and she's really trying to get her new friend and love interest Reed to fall in love with New York City by taking him on these walks around town. And it just kind of reminded me of Jenna's book and this other book that I really liked. So definitely recommend it. And then noir isn't really my genre. So when I'm trying to kind of push my boundaries and read outside of my comfort zone, I like finding these anthologies. So this one's called Milwaukee Noir, and it's edited by Tim Hennessy, and it has a ton of amazing short stories by local and not so local authors, and they're all set in the city of Milwaukee. They're very tonally different. They go all over the place, but they're wonderful, and it's a really great way to introduce yourself to the genre and different writers who write in the genre. One of the authors in the anthology is Shauna Singh Baldwin, who is also a local author. She lives in our service area at the East Branch Library, so she comes in and checks out books. which is great. So I just wanted to make sure to plug one of her books. So she has a story in Milwaukee Noir, and then she's also an author of her own full-length novels. So The Selector of Souls is my favorite by her. It's a really amazing story with Pakistani influence, and it's just really great. So definitely check those out. All right, so that is it for our recommendations and interviews. I'm just looking to see if we have any questions. Doesn't look like it. Again, I just want to plug our summer reading program. The kids, of course, get to participate. So do the teens. Adults get some really great prizes lined up for people, including Milwaukee film memberships, gift cards to Funky Fresh spring rolls. I have a copy of The Chosen and the Beautiful by Nevo, another local author, to give away, and it's signed. All you need to do is log 5 books and turn it in before the end of August. And along with that, our Teen Summer Reading Challenge is really great this year. It's a public art scavenger hunt. So if you were really interested in what we talked about with Jenna today, you can pick this up or scan the QR code and find a map with all these public art pieces that you can check out throughout the city. If you're grown up, I'm sorry you can't win any prizes for participating, but that doesn't mean you can't go on the tour yourself. So I'm highlighting the ones by the East Branch. There's 4 different pieces that you can find. Details are pretty limited because we want you to go find them on your own. All right. We also wanted to make sure to plug one of our partners, which is the Milwaukee Film Festival. They have their upcoming Cultures and Community Festival, Film, Health, and Lifestyle starting September 6th. So make sure to save the date for that. I'm hoping that we'll have some more information to share about that as we get closer to the event. And then I noticed this and I just wanted to throw it out there. It looks like Radio Milwaukee is doing a scavenger hunt as well, beginning August 1st. So we'll include the link to that in our follow-up email, but you can download an app and maybe win some prizes and explore your city. And then wrapping up, our next book chat is Tuesday, August 10th at 6 p.m. We'll be hosting author Danielle Lincoln Hanna. So make sure to register for that. We'll include the Zoom registration link in the follow-up email. All right, any questions? Of course, if you do have any, you can email us at mplwebinars@milwaukee.gov. Otherwise, we'll see you next time on the chat. Jenna, do you have any parting words for us?
That's it. Thanks so much for having me. I wrote a couple of notes. I actually do like weekly lists of things I need to do or things I need to see. So, you know, I would just recommend that everybody tries their best while the weather is warm to get out and see all the new things that are happening in the city.
Did you go see the birds yet on the lakefront? I want to go do that. It's on my list.
For sure. Yeah. No, my kids will love it though. So that is one of my other favorite places in Milwaukee though. Lakeshore State Park is a gem. We used to live right over by there. So there a lot, but yeah, I would just say get out and have fun and go Bucks.
Yes, go Bucks. Excellent. Well, I just want to again say thank you so much, Jenna. This has been a true delight, and we'll have you back sometime, maybe in the library in the future when we can do that again. And I want to thank everyone for being here this evening, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.